Well, hello and welcome to Bride, and I have got a special mug here to tell us we're the Ramsey and District Beekeepers Association.
We are.
Sharon and Steve. This is fascinating because you guys have got this lovely little area here, and you get together every so often, have a little chat, and with these bees doing what they do in the background. But you started recently, so let's come to you in this moment. But Steve, you've been this, what, 10 years?
About 10 years I started beekeeping, yeah. On the Isle of Man, the Isle of Man Beekeepers Federation, they do a yearly beginners course, which I did about 10 years ago, down at Knockalo, which is in the west of the island. We've just is where this has landed us now.
Yeah. I mean, we keep hearing that we really got to protect bees and actually encourage them. So what made you get into doing this?
Something I've always fancied doing, and like you say, it's ecologically friendly. Always had a little fascination. So we moved to the island, got the opportunity to think about it, met Maggie and Steve, and started coming here every Sunday at 2:00 and really got into beekeeping. So
great cake and tea, by the way. Very
great
nice.
Cake and tea, yeah.
What can you do, though, to encourage bees to do with their thing? Is there such a thing, or you just put the hives there and hope for the best? Or?
Yeah, well, the honeybees, they're domesticated. Well, they're not domesticated. We look after them in their hives, and that's what we do. Once you put a bee in its beehive, they tend to stay there until they swarm, which we try to stop as best we can.
And is there a downside for this? I mean, can you have it in your back garden, or should you be more sort of select where you put the bees?
You can put them in your back garden, but it's a bit antisocial. Right. If you've got neighbours, the bees won't bother the neighbours in general, but when it comes to the late spring, early summer, we have to inspect the bees every week, so every 7 days, and the bees do get grumpy, especially when they'll be booming in June, July, and there's so many bees in there, and then they will attack the neighbours if they're close.
Is that what you're taking at the honey, though? I bet they get grumpy, surely, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Just grumpy in general, because they just don't want you to be messing around with them. But you've got to check, see what they're up to, see if they're about to swarm, because that's what you don't want. You don't want them all of a sudden you come back to your hive and they've all gone, because they've swarmed off and decided to go somewhere. Yeah.
They go off and have a huff?
Yeah, they'll go off somewhere else. So we don't want that happening.
No.
So we have to learn all about swarm control so that they stay in the hive and make the honey, which is what we want. And then that's at the end of the year we to take the honey off and leave a bit behind for them for the winter. But also feed them over the winter to make sure that they're going to be nice and healthy, ready for the spring. And learning all about the cycle of a life of a bee is just fascinating. It really is fascinating, yeah.
Many years ago, when I was working for ITV, I did a whole thing about bees being posted off the Isle of Man to the UK and around the world. Is that still the case?
It's still the case. It can be done. There are certain people that do send bees or queens across to different places in the UK, but we must stress that you cannot bring bees or any beekeeping equipment to the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is one of the very few places in the whole world that hasn't got the Varroa virus, which is like a little bug that gets in and upsets the ecosystem in a beehive. So as I say again, we have not got that on the Isle of Man.
Hence, that's why Manx bees are so much in demand.
Yeah, and they're quite different. They're little black bees, so they're not the
traditional big bumblebee bees.
No,
bumblebees are totally different bees to honeybees. So
I should have known that right now. Okay, now this looks like a great get-together here. You've had a good time when you come along, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me and my partner, when we moved to the island, we didn't know anybody. We came 2 years ago. We came down here. We've made real great friends. It's a lovely community. We do lots of things, we do lots of fundraising events, and it's nice to help out with that and feel like you're really part of the community. So, it's just great. It's a great little club to belong to and get to know people. Even if you don't really want to get your own hive, that doesn't matter, because we've got 12 hives here. Some are other people's hives and they come down here to look after them, and then the rest are the community apiaries, so you can be part of that. So if you haven't got a hive or room for a hive at home, you can still be a beekeeper. Wow. It's great. It's
and
really
you're doing the right thing. It's like having electric cars or solar panels. It's just that sort of thing, isn't it? Because
exactly.
you cannot have enough Is there a decline, by the way, in the island, or how are we doing here? Do you know?
In what respect?
In amount of bees, because you always hear about the lack of bees everywhere. But are we doing all right?
Well, I think the bees are okay in general on the Isle of Man, but you have to be careful with honeybees. Right. If you have too many honeybees in a certain area, they will upset the local bees. And because honeybees, there's so many of them, there could be 50, 60,000 in a hive. Wow. And then when it comes to the summertime, when all the flowers are out, there's just not enough food to go around for the wild bees. So if you have too many beehives, that upsets the local
I've heard loads here today. That's fantastic.
So people think having bees is good for pollination and that, but it's not always that good.
Well, to finish with, and this is so organised, we have a board in front of us. Look, this the phone number to ring 328034.
Yes.
Do you want to try the Gmail account? Can you read that with you?
Gmail is IOM, Isle of Man, Northern Bees.
So it's IOM Northern Bees at gmail.com.
Yeah, and we've got several Facebook pages.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Facebook. We come to Glentruan every Sunday, 2:00. Yeah. Come rain or shine. When it's raining, the family that we have let us have this land, they've also got a...
It's the old cafe, isn't it?
The old cafe,
chalet.
and so they let us use that very kindly. So if it's raining, we go in there, and one of the more experienced beekeepers does a little talk for us. So it's great, yeah.
Fine. Well, there you go. If you fancy the idea of joining this very enthusiastic and very entertaining group of people who make, as I said, great tea and cakes, amongst other things, the details on the screen now as well, again. And thank you very much for inviting me up today. It's been very interesting.
You're very welcome.